What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the Counting Wisdom podcast. I wanted to say that there's definitely something going on in the world. Just one more sign that we're getting closer to the end times. Of course, this doesn't necessarily change anything about our faith. I think definitely it's exciting that we could be standing before God in heaven before we know it. I think that, the reality of the rapture and heaven just becomes more real and more exciting. And I think it's something to look forward to. But there's definitely something going on. And I think just like any sign, we have to prepare in advance. I think some things that we can do to prepare in advance is maybe giving up certain sins that you may be prone to. Maybe this means, making your life right with God. I think we have to remember that life is not ending, but it's transitioning, one, to the millennial kingdom, and two, to an eternity with God. We have to realize something about God, that He punishes sin, and so He doesn't do it in order to just catch us at every wrong that we have. He doesn't do it for evil's sake. God is not evil, but He is good, and so He's a just God. And so I think it's so important for us to remember that, we have so many things that we should be doing, and remembering that life is not ending, but it's just a new beginning. As a disclaimer, I am a little bit under the weather today. I'm just a little bit sick. I didn't go to work today because I work with certain groups of people that I don't want to necessarily get sick. So anyway, bear with me. But anyway, I think we have to look at the signs of the times, look at the signs and see that the end, not the end of life itself, but just the end of a period of life, an end of a certain time period of life is drawing near. We're getting towards the tribulation in the Bible, and soon, if you live with Jesus Christ, if you have faith in Jesus Christ, you're going to live forever in heaven. If you don't have faith in Jesus Christ, you live forever in hell. And that's just the hard reality of life. And I'm not going to necessarily get into, some of those realities, but I will say that, the signs of the times point to just the coming of the Lord. Now, do I think it's within the year? I don't know. I am making plans as if it's not for another 5 or 10 years. I'm still making plans for, not a whole bunch of plans, but as far as my short-term decisions are going, I still plan on, accomplishing certain goals, but yet and still, having that in my mind that, I'm eagerly waiting for the Christ return. I think it's important to know God. Knowing God is keeping His commandments. I think repenting when we find ourselves not keeping the commandments, I think that's an important part of our walk with God, is that, hey, when we do wrong, we shouldn't be doing wrong. And Christians are supposed to not sin. But yet, still, we should repent when we know what we're doing wrong and we know we're in sin. And I think just doing our best to be good Christians, doing our best to be counted worthy to escape all that will happen and stand before the Son of Man. And so, life, I think, is going to continue on before we get to the rapture and before we get to the tribulation. I think that, life is going to continue on, but yet there's still going to be places where there is tragedies happening and evil. And I think that's going to be the norm in the world until Christ returns. I think there's going to be places where there's buying and selling, planting and building. But I think there's also going to be places where there's wars and rumors of wars, pestilence, bloodshed, different things like that, that is described in the book of Matthew chapter 24 and Luke chapter 21 in the Bible. And so, I think that, hey, it's not saying that we shouldn't. If you are planning on getting married, in the next 6 months or a year, or even longer than that, I don't think it's saying that we shouldn't do those things. I think it's just more along the lines of, as we get closer to the end, we're shifting our mindset towards, hey, I'm not living for getting married, or I'm not living for having kids, or I'm not living for, having a better job or the most ideal job, or I'm not living for riches. You're focused on you're focused on Jesus Christ. You're focused on what He wants you to do. So anyway, this is going to be a short podcast for today, just because, I'm not feeling all that well. And so, thanks so much. I think it's just another sign of the times when we look at what's happening in Israel, when we look at what's happening in Haiti, when we look at what's happening in Africa, when we look at the different crimes that are happening. And so, thanks so much. I will talk to you on the next one. See ya.